Welcome back to Tucker Rhetoric. I wanted to continue with living outside of the US because a few more things I just thought about after I finished that video. Number one, college is much cheaper. So, for all of you who are parents who are thinking about sending your kids off to university, look at universities in Europe. All right. It is a very good cultural experience for your child. They will get an international education, and this will also look good when they come back to the US. Even if they just do a semester abroad, just have them try that and get that experience. I was trying to do that when I was in undergrad, but my family didn't have the means for me to do it. Um, so I would really tell you to look into if your kids are getting ready for universities, look at universities in Europe. All right, you have very good education. It is very much affordable. So I would think that that's something that you should look at, and it would be really good for your kid to get outside of America and see something different. All right. The other thing is, I did my master's degree here. I paid for it. I was able to still pay all my bills. I was traveling. Like, you can afford it. There's a saying that they say in Europe you work to live, and in America you live to work. All right, we get much more vacation time, and I can't speak about some of the other countries, but in Czech Republic, for example, maternity leave is 2 to 3 years. In America, maternity leave is what, a few weeks, a few months? I don't know. I'm sure it's not a few months. It's a few weeks. So you have a kid, well, you're off for 2 to 3 years. You still have money coming in, and you get your job back when you're ready to come back to work. All right. You have free health care. You can also go to private clinics if you want. Sometimes the private clinics are a little bit better, but the main thing with healthcare here is if you know the right people, then you'll be okay. Like, you just friends of friends. Hey, I had an issue with my shoulder. Somebody that's a specialist. You go to that person. Boom. And then I had surgery on my shoulder. Didn't have to pay anything. All right. So free healthcare. That's another major advantage when you come to Europe. One of the other things is, I will say this: it's not all just positive all the time. You may have some negative experiences, but that's the same like you have where you are now. There will be people who may try to take advantage because you're a foreigner, because they think you don't know the rules or whatever. I had some little situations. I was working at one school, and I had to leave the country to deal with some visa issues with my son because he has Russian and American citizenship, and so we had to go to Russia to deal with some stuff with the visa. And my boss didn't like that I had missed a few days, so that she wanted to fire me. But she did it illegally. She tried to force me to sign some document. Don't sign anything. All right, so don't sign stuff. Well, I didn't sign it. And then, I had been there for 5 years, so the parents were asking me because I had relationships with these people and like, what's going on? Why are you leaving? Da, da, da. And she tried to lie and say I just wanted to leave, and I told them the truth. So then she tried to threaten me. I can cancel your visa. She couldn't cancel my visa. All right. So she owed me money, but she was trying to say, sign this document and you won't have to pay me any money or whatever. But it was all nonsense. Also here, if you get fired from a job, they have to give you 2 months pay. All right. Which is crazy. In America, they could just be like, bye. Now, they can fire you without pay, but they have to give you at least 3 warnings before. So they have to write you up, you were kept being late or whatever else it is. But like I said, it's a much different vibe over here where you really work to live. You have a lot of countries close to you, so it's easy to travel and go to different places. And it's really crazy that you can get in the car and go 4 hours and the language change, the food change, everything is different. The architecture might be a little bit different depending on how far or where you go. So it's a really cool experience. I think that, for me, I thought of it like this. You have one body that you live in and one planet that you live on. And that's it. Like, that's your house. So living in one country and not going anywhere else is, to me, like being in a big house and only staying in one room. And when you grow up in America, they always teach you that this is the best country in the world and we're the greatest place and freedom and all of this stuff. And America's good, but I wouldn't go as far as say it's the best place in the world. You know what I mean? Even though some people outside of America believe that as well. Even when I came here, people were like, "What? You're from America? Why are you here?" So I think that it would be good for you to get out and see other places. All right, experience something different, different cultures. You make friends from so many different walks of life. And then the other thing is, when you step outside of America, it's easier for you to see and understand America. Sometimes when I make videos or talk about things that are going on in America, I have negative feedback from people close to me saying, like, you're not here, you don't know what's going on. But I don't look at it that way. I think that sometimes you can't see the forest because of the trees. I didn't really understand Cleveland until I left Cleveland. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't hear gunshots. I don't see any crackheads around here. I thought this was normal. So I think that it's really good for you to see some other places, all right? And my uncle told me that most people live in a 4-mile radius. So you're basically living in a fish tank, all right? You go to the same stores, same places, same barbershop, same hair salon, and you just stay in that little circle. So if I were to go by that, you don't understand because you ain't here logic, then you shouldn't talk about nothing outside of your 4-mile radius. You know what I mean? Because even in the city, I was in Cleveland, and I would go to down in other parts of Cleveland, and I would have family and friends like, what you doing over there? Oh, why you going there? And it's like, it's 20 minutes away from where we live. Like, what's the. And they never even been over there. So you can't really understand a place until you go to it. But I think that, again, look into university if you have kids that are getting close to graduating, because it's much more affordable unless they can get some scholarships in the U.S. Also, you don't have, safety is not a concern here. It's a very safe place. Like where I live in Czech Republic is extremely safe. And most other countries in Europe are safe as well. You're starting to have some things change in different places, but it's not like in the U.S. You know what I mean? It's not the school shootings and people shoot each other over parking spots and road rage and all this craziness. It ain't going on. And when I first got here, I was kind of like, these dudes are soft. Like, what's up with these dudes? But then I started to see, like, well, this is actually better. They're not, these dudes will get into a fight. They look like they ain't trying to hurt each other. I'm like, what are y'all doing? They punching each other in the stomach and wrestling, and then they hug each other and have a beer. And I'm like, this is actually, a little bit better way. Because I know in Cleveland, we trying to kill you. Like, you fall down, we kicking you in the face. If you lose, people want to come back shooting and all this. And now I know people don't even really fight all that much no more because they're cowards and they can't fight. So they start shooting each other. So you don't have to deal with all of that stuff. Again, free healthcare. And, there, like I said, there will be some negative situations, but that's in any place. So I hope that helps to add on to it. And I wanted to share just one more quick story with you that I kind of left out. So when I went to England, I was staying in England for that 3 months. I was, again, stupid American, didn't really know about proper visa process. And I only had a tourist visa. If you come to Europe, anywhere within the EU, you can stay for 90 days as an American. Automatic visa, 90 days, you can stay. You can't do that in England because they're not a part of the Schengen anymore. And you may need a visa. I think that's it. You can check and see. I think that's it. But I know for sure you get 90 days, yeah? So you ain't got to worry about visa just coming to visit. You can come. You got 60 to 90 days, no problem. You chilling. Most of y'all probably going to stay for a week or two. So I'm in England for 3 months, and I didn't have the proper visa. Somebody told me, just leave, and when you come back, tell them you're coming to work. So me and my friend crossed over the English Channel and went over to Belgium, just hung out in Belgium one night, came back, and they said, why are you here? I said, I'm coming to work. And they said, what? You don't have a proper visa? We need to ask you some more questions. Whenever you're in customs and they say, we want to ask you some more questions, be ready. It's going to be a while. But my friend had to leave because he had to go pick up his wife at the airport, and he couldn't stay with me. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm on my own. We'll see what happens. I had about 200 euros maybe. So I sit down with the British people and British police, customs agencies, and customs agents, and they were like drilling. They were not very nice because they have this idea that everybody wants to come and stay on their island, even though now they seem to just be like anybody can come. I don't know, but they were very much like, what is this? What is that? What is this? And I was like, listen, I want to come here and work. I didn't know, da da da. So they denied me entry and they put me on a list, which was, I'll talk about that in a second. So then they turned me over to the French police. I'm with the French police for about 5 minutes. They have me sign some paper. I don't know what it said. And they told me you're free to go. I'm like, free to go where? Like, I don't speak French, nothing. So I leave there. I'm walking to try to get to the little town. Just trying to find a hotel because it's almost like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So I'm trying to hitchhike. All right. Nobody picked me up. I go to the hotel. I stay in the hotel. That's like 50 euro. Get something to eat, another 15 euro. You see, the money's going away. Then I'm like, man, I'm in this little town called Cali. I need to go to Paris. Like, there ain't no action here. So I go to this place for refugees to help people, and she explained to me, go to Paris, go to the U.S. consulate. They'll help you out. All right, cool. I spent another like 30, 40 € on the train ticket to go to Paris. I get to Paris. I go to the U.S. Embassy, and they were like, look, we can help you out, but we can't just give you a plane ticket back home. We're going to call 3 of your family members and see if they will buy you the ticket. And then if they say no, we'll give you the ticket. So I gave them 2 friends who were in England who already, I told them like, hey, just say no when they call you. And I gave them one of my friends' number in Cleveland who I knew would say no. So my friend, he still talks stuff to me about this to this day. He like, man, you got the U.S. State Department calling my house. So they call my friends and tell me come back the next day. I'm like, well, I ain't really got nowhere to stay. They said go to a hostel. I don't know. Hostel was like 40 euros. I'm like, man, I got to figure it out. So the first night, I'm walking around the city. It's getting late. I'm sleepy. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go sleep in this parking garage. I go down in this parking garage. I find a spot. I sit down. I'm leaning against the wall. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, you're in Paris. Go see what's going on. So I get up. I go out. And it's this club. I see this dude outside the club. And he was maybe in his like early 20s. But he was speaking French. He was speaking English. He was speaking Spanish. And he was asking people for change. He was begging for change. So I started talking with the dude like, man, you don't look homeless. You like begging for change or whatever. And he was like, yeah, that's how I make money, whatever. Cool. I go in the club. The club costs 20 euro. It don't close till like 6, 8 in the morning. So I just stayed the whole night in there. When I come out the club in the morning, the dude is still out there. So we started talking, chopping it up. And after the second day, I'm starting to like, I'm running out of money. You start to get a little bit stinky. You know what I mean? I wanted to buy some deodorant. It cost 16 euro. I'm like, I ain't paying 16 euros for no deodorant. So I go back to the U.S. Embassy. They're like, okay, we're going to give you the ticket. Come back tomorrow. But my money is really starting to get low. I met some other people who were there, some people from Utah. They were really nice. 2 dudes that were just talking with them, telling them my story while we were waiting. They both ended up giving me like 20 euros, so that helped me out. I go back to the club. Dude is out there. He starts teaching me how to beg for change in French. It was a PTP, s'il vous plaît, pour manger, like a small piece, please, for food. And I'm begging for food. People was giving me money. He told me ask women because they're more likely to give to you. So I'm there in France begging for change. Finally, the next day I go back and I'm so tired by now. I'm going in the club and I'm like waking up, standing up. You know, I'm like dancing, but if I close my eyes, I'm like dozing off. So the next day I finally go back to the U.S. Embassy. They give me the ticket, and then I was able to come back home. But when I was on the train to go to the airport, I kept falling asleep, going to like the end of the line. I got to get back on the train to go back to get to the airport. But then I came back, and that's when I spent 1 year because I knew I went back to Cleveland because I was like, I want to spend a year with my grandmother because the next time when I'm out, I'm out. And then it's been 16 years since then. So hope you enjoyed a few of these little stories.